Hello, happy Sunday, everybody out there on Instagram. I've got a couple things I just wanted to share about. I'll probably wait a moment till I've got some people here. We are telling your followers that you've started a live video. All right, hello everybody, popping on. I had a couple things I wanted to share with you all. The first of which is we just sent out a newsletter to our big newsletter list, which we kind of never talk about here, I realized, and wanted to just invite you to pop over, maybe after this video, pop over to indiebirth.org, which is our website, which will be getting a makeover very soon. But for now, on the homepage, you can sign up to be on our newsletter. And that is a really great way to stay in touch and hear about all the newest stuff. Instagram is great, but with the algorithms, even our biggest fans often miss some of the content that we are putting out, and we just think that's a darn shame. So there are two ways that you can be sure to see everything that we do. The first is to go get on the newsletter at indiebirth.org. The second is to make sure you have an account over on our private social platform, which is social.indiebirth.org. And I'm going to put both those here in the comments right now. And again, because of the algorithms, you're not probably seeing everything we put out, which maybe is fine with you, but if you're someone who doesn't want to miss a thing, you should definitely check out social.indiebirth.org. There's an app associated. It's the Mighty Networks app, so it makes it really easy to check on your phone. And kind of is a good segue into the other thing I wanted to share, which is that we have a free pregnancy circle, a free pregnant mama circle over on our social platform. So we got mostly, at least, off of Facebook because it's a dumpster fire, and is, the things that we still have there are mostly just a way to get people to get to know us a little bit and then make their way over to our social platform because it's way better. It's private. We have more meaningful conversations there, and we can share all of our content with you in an unfiltered way that isn't, just being filtered through an algorithm too. So if you're not already on our social platform, please do that. You can do it on both your computer and your phone with the app, the Mighty Networks app on your phone, and you can just use your browser on your computer. And so, that was my segue into saying we have this free pregnant mama circle that I think we haven't really said a whole lot about. So if you're watching and you are pregnant and you're looking for a community, like-minded community, women who have probably listened to some of our podcasts and are into this whole physiological birth thing, we have really cool people over on the platform in this group, and it's a great place to meet people and ask questions and get resources. So just a plug that if you're not already part of that, you should definitely go check that out. And if you have pregnant friends, send them the social.indiebirth.org link and tell them they should definitely come help us make it the most happening free pregnancy spot on the internet. There are so many groups out there, especially like on Facebook, that say they're about physiological birth, and take it from me, a midwife and someone who has had 2 babies at home, they're full of a whole lot of nonsense. And maybe there's some good ones out there, but I have not ever been a part of one. Way back in the day when I was pregnant with my daughter Celosia, I was an active member on the mothering.com forums. So I don't know if anyone on here was ever part of that, but it was kind of a fun place to hang out in some ways, and then in other ways it was hard because not everyone who was involved was really on the same page. But the idea of it was really fun, and it looked really nice, and it was easy to search. And so that's what we are trying to do in our own way over on the social platform, social.indiebirth.org, or find us using the Mighty Networks app. Just search IndieBirth or IndieBirth Association, and you'll find us. So the other thing I wanted to share is that we put out a newsletter just moments ago, sending out to the many thousands of people on our newsletter list, that letting people know that we are going to continue running our sweet deal on our Doula Dreams course. So it's a $28 deal through the end of the year, because we are just so excited to have, I think the way I wrote it was like a tidal wave of new doula energy. And, if there's anything we've learned during this really wacky 2020 year, it's that we need each other. We need support. We need support in birth, and there are places all over the country where that has been restricted by certain hospitals, certain midwives, and we are saying enough of that. And one of the big ways that we can make change anytime, but again, especially in light of all that is happening in the world, is we can support women who are pregnant, who are giving birth, and who have just recently given birth. And that love and light that we are bringing is revolutionary. And so, like I said, we are running this $28 doula course deal through the end of the year for people who are following us here on Instagram, for people who are on our newsletter list, and for people on our social platform. So if you want to get that, make sure, if you're not already on the newsletter, the best way to get that deal is to make an account over on social.indiebirth.org or using Mighty Networks. Look for indiebirth that way. And once you are a member there, you'll see the $28 deal in the featured area. And again, the course is called Doula Dreams. So, let me think. I feel like there was something else I wanted to share. Oh, I guess the only other thing I was thinking about was I did a clarity call this morning with a very lovely woman who is interested in becoming a doula, who took our Doula Dreams course, actually, and she said it was exactly what she needed to help clarify whether or not this was the right path for her. And one of the questions that I ask people on these clarity calls is, what is your ultimate dream as a doula and as a birth worker? Like, what is the ultimate vision? And so she shared with me her ultimate vision, which is, and she kind of prefaced it with like, this is kind of big and kind of out there, so bear with me. And her vision is to have land and spaces for people to come, families to come give birth and recuperate post-birth, to have an apothecary, to have other practitioners around to support these families, this really beautiful vision. And I said, and she seemed a little bit shy about it or something, and I said, well, the first thing I want to say is that sounds great, and the second thing I want to say is, like, this is a vision that so many of us are holding, and so I think it's really powerful this time of year, especially as it's dark, the nights are longer, to really reflect and go inwards around, like, what is it that we want to create in this world. And I thought it was really beautiful that she shared that, and she seemed really excited when I said that so many women in the indie birth sort of community have a similar vision, maybe in different locations. And I think it just shows that there's this collective consciousness happening around creating physical spaces for bringing this information back to our communities. And I gave the example of, like, I've done a ton of community education here where I live in Duluth, Minnesota. But I've always done it in other people's spaces, whether it's a chiropractor's office or at a church or in a library. And it's all really wonderful, but we are currently redoing our garage, our 2-car garage. So it will be my office and my teaching space. And I think it's going to be totally different and way more impactful when I have my space set up the way I want, with my lending library of birth books, with my beautiful birth art on the walls, and have a really, like, physically grounded place where people in my community can come and learn this information, get to know each other, build connections, and see that this is real. You know what I mean? So I just really loved that this morning we got to have that conversation, this woman and I, about this vision for a birth space and for a space for wise women to gather and go inward and have it rooted to the earth in a way that is different than, I love doing home visits for my clients. But often when I was in that model doing only home visits, I felt kind of like all over the place, like who I am as a midwife and what I offered to my community was kind of spread out. There wasn't like a holding ground for the work, a container. That's the word I'm looking for, a container for the work. So I'm really excited to be offering that soon in my community. Maybe I'll post some photos here in the story of the space as it comes together. And hopefully that will inspire you, if that is part of your vision and your dream, to create a birth space, whether it's for education or for actually having people have their babies, or for, doing ceremony and ritual with women who've just given birth, whatever that looks like. I hope it inspires you too. And as it's coming together, I've had many plans and cool ideas over the years and just haven't had a physical space to do it in, or I didn't feel like I had the energy to figure out coordinating with a space to make it happen. So one of the things that I'm planning in 2021, for example, is that I'm hoping to do some community mother blessings. So I don't have the exact details figured out, but when I do, I'm sure I will share them with you. But the idea would be that women who are due in a 3-month window, for example, maybe like January, February, March, would all be invited by donation to come to a community mother blessing here in my large space, where we have all the things that we need to do a really beautiful ceremony for these women who are about to give birth, whether or not they are my clients. And this would be in collaboration with other local doulas. So it would be a great way to, 1, support the women in our community, make them feel cherished and honored and special. 2, get them in front of really cool progressive birth workers like the doulas here and myself as a midwife. And 3, give them whatever kind of education it is that they maybe didn't even know they wanted, but comes up during the process of this, afternoon. So those are the sorts of ideas that I think can come through and be expressed more fully when we do have that physical space. So that's enough on that topic, but I thought I'd share that cool conversation with you. And just to recap, we have the free pregnancy circle over on our platform, social.indiebirth.org, or you can use the Mighty Networks app to look up indiebirth free pregnancy circle. Super fun, super valuable. Check it out if you're pregnant, and if you're not pregnant, tell your friends. And then the other thing I mentioned was we have the $28 deal on the Doula Dreams course. It's a lot of D's. It's like an alliteration, but yeah, that's running through the end of the year, and we invite you to check that out if you're just needing a nudge to get started on your birth work path. It might be the perfect thing for you if you're looking for clarity around what you might need to do next or want to do next. It is a great resource, and we've had some really cool testimonials already from people who've completed it. So that's it from me on this Sunday evening. It's dark here. I never know. Is that evening? Is it afternoon? Hard to say in Minnesota. But that's it. And if you have something that you would like to learn about this week, send us a message and we'll see what we can do.